Welcome back, Junkies, on 106.7 The Fan and on WatchTheJunkies.com. You're going to check us out in HD. John Paul Flame, joined by Eric Bickle.
Good morning.
Johnny Cakes Allville.
At Money Metal Cakes on Twitter and Instagram.
And the Lurch Pappy, Jason Bishop.
Another big win for the Niners last night. John Paul.
Nice win. All that talk about Harbaugh and the Niners, well, they're back to 4-2 and just one game out of the best record in the NFC.
I mean, it looked dicey down 14-3, but then Janoris Jenkins allowed an 80-yard touchdown. Thank God. Thank God.
If you just look at the box score, like I woke up this morning, I watched the first half. I looked at the box score this morning. I want to say that the 49ers had almost 200 more yards than the Rams.
Big surprise.
Domination.
Rom called me last night. He wanted my lean on this game, which is just a flimsy excuse for him to talk my ear off and make my ear bleed for 10 minutes on the phone. And not shocking, my vibe was take the Rams plus 2 points at home. Didn't really work out so well.
Bet against Cakes.
Looked good early, though, Cakes.
It looked good early. And but I told him at the end of the call, I said, I would stay a million miles away from this game. Not sure where it's going to go. Don't put big money on it.
By the way, this week in the NFL, there was 3 interception returns that hoard a point spread or a total at the end of the game because the touchdown that the 49ers scored on the interception return at the end of the game just made the total, which was set at 45, go over
the total.
I mean, it's just sickening.
Man, John Gruden, by the way, the way he gushes about players, I know that it's been a couple years now. It does get to be just tiresome.
I had the volume down because I was watching in bed, but who was he gushing over? Cap?
Oh, Austin Davis.
Oh, Austin Davis.
I mean, Austin Davis, who, it's a nice story. He was cut, and then he was actually coaching at a high school a year ago.
I mean,
and then he re-signed with the Rams.
Going back further, when he was at Southern Miss, when he showed up, I didn't even know this was possible. He was the 7th string quarterback at Southern Miss. I didn't know they had depth charts that went 7 deep.
I want to say within 10 minutes he compared him to Drew Brees twice.
Well, I mean, come on.
He's got to fill airtime.
He's Austin Davis.
But didn't he start out on fire? Didn't he cool off big time?
Oh, he marched the troops in the first. I think it was at least the first drive.
But how did he do in the second half?
Terrible.
Yeah, he threw a pick 6 at the end of the game.
They were outscored 31-3 from the second quarter on.
I mean, listen, I root for underdogs like that. I think those stories are the best stories. I mean, are you kidding?
Well, it's just a matter of time before the Niners started to put pressure on him. They sacked him 5 times. He threw the pick 6. But, I mean,
and again, he's a
Niners are much
young
better.
Quarterback finding his way.
1 through 53, much better roster than the Rams.
He's not just going to come out every week and throw for 300 and 350 yards. It's just not going to be the way.
It's 14-3. All right. First of all, there was an awful call on offensive pass interference on Jared Cook. All right.
Yeah, it was a bad call.
And the Rams,
were driving.
The 49ers.
They were down inside. I think they were inside the 25 or maybe inside the 20. It was pretty close to that. They're driving, ended up having to punt. And then there's 30 seconds left. They're still up 14-3. And, the Niners are basically just trying to run the clock out. They're not calling timeouts. The Rams probably think the same thing. And then all of a sudden they catch Janoris Jenkins sleeping out on the left side on Brandon Lloyd. He gave him a little sit-down move, 80-yard touchdown.
It was a great move. Froze him for a half second, and then he created 5 yards of separation is all he needed.
80-yard touchdown, and then all of a sudden it's a totally different game going in the second half at 14-10.
Right.
So they come out and they dominate the second half.
How late did you stay up?
I watched the first half.
And that was it.
I was trying to fight it, but there was no way I was going to watch halftime and deal with Gruden again. Who did he even interview at halftime? Did he do one of his talks?
I don't remember what happened at halftime.
It's a shame because I remember a few years ago I wanted Gruden, John Gruden, but but
not Jay Gruden.
I mean, no, Jay's fine, and I think Jay, who knows? I think Jay's certainly capable of being a quality head coach. It probably won't work here because nobody ever works here. But I wanted John a few years ago, but he's just become like a goof. When Caliendo's just starts goofing on
he's
you.
He's become a caricature.
Yeah.
At this point.
He's like a farce.
Yeah.
I just think he's out of the running. I think it's over. They were saying that the Raiders were making overtures, but he may be considering that because that may be one of the few teams at this point that's willing to give him another shot.
I just think when guys get in that role and they're making good money and they don't have to worry about the stress of dealing with an NFL team every day,
I agree.
Why would you leave that spot? Because I'm sure when John Madden became an announcer, people thought, hey, he's a Hall of Fame coach. He'll come back to coaching football. Instead, he made his millions elsewhere.
Well, people thought that was the exception. A lot of guys, you just feel like they're coaches, and they love that competitiveness.
I think a lot of coaches can come to grips with it. Steve Mariucci looks like he has a good time on the NFL Network. Brian Billick does too.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the guys want to come back, but some of them look awful
Once you
comfortable.
taste that money and you get that comfort,
Yeah, but
that competitiveness goes out the window.
I've seen pics of Brian Billick's house on the Eastern Shore. He's good.
Exactly.
He's good to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he doesn't need to
Why
go
does he
back to
want
that
the-
meat
Once
grinder.
you get that money,
Yeah.
you don't need to go into that stress.
Why do you want the grind of 18-hour days?
I don't think they do.
I mean, some of these guys just go into a bedroom where they got a couple trophies in the background. They do a 10-minute report and they cash.
It's brilliant.
If you could get the same amount of money, like let's just assume, I guess the question, the underlying would be that you had a passion for radio. Let's say you had a passion for radio. I know you don't. If you had a passion for radio,
Why does he say that?
Just
I
tease
show
you.
up every day, same time this MFer does. I do the same thing, same amount of work, but I don't have a passion.
And
But that's
actually,
okay.
you have an extra radio show.
Go
man.
ahead.
So you
That's
probably
radio.
do extra work.
All right, all right.
Go ahead.
Would you do this for just if? Would you quit it for the rest of your life if they just paid you the same amount of money?
Of course.
I would too.
You
But
mean
you wouldn't feel a void though.
you mean
I'd feel a void. I'd do something
I would do
else.
something else. I would just
no,
do.
you can't.
You can't.
Can't broadcast. No, it's just like coaching. You can't coach.
Oh, no. I would do something else, not broadcasting.
Right,
I
right.
would sleep in, though. That would be the number one thing that I would
Yeah,
do.
right.
If
I
you
don't know.
re-
I probably
you
would
would-
do the same thing too. I
You
probably
would get up at
I mean,
4
if you really
o'clock.
have a
No.
Jones, if you really have a
No.
Jones to broadcast, go into a room, have some speakers there, speak into a mic. You're broadcasting to I don't know people
I would coach
walking around
my
in the
daughter's softball
hallways.
team or something.
No. That's fine. Yeah, you could do that. My thing was that the idea was that you had a passion for this, and somebody took it away and just paid you. So I'm assuming a lot of these coaches have a passion for coaching.
Sure.
But they're just doing that job because it pays so well, and screw it.
And I think they
But they're not
also get
coaching
to
anymore.
taste life. These coaches live no lives during a football season. From everything we hear, most of these coaches are putting in 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
They basically get home, probably get something to eat, go to sleep, and do it again the next day. Rinse and repeat over and over and over again.
I'm sure they
that when
love
they
it.
actually get to live a life and they don't have to deal with the stress of losing your job,
Right.
I'm sure they love
it's
to
probably
do
a
it.
huge relief.
I'm sure they love to do it, but they certainly want to get compensated for it
Oh, of
because that's a
course.
hard life, man.
Oh, of course it is. Brutal.
I mean, I've got a buddy who is an assistant. He's an offensive assistant at Duke now. Works directly under Scotty Montgomery, who's their offensive coordinator. David Cutcliffe's the head coach.
Mhm.
And he was making a good living working for Cisco.
Mhm.
All right, and he was probably making. I'm guessing he was somewhere in the 80 grand range.
He probably
He's a
had-
young guy.
Probably had dumb stock options.
He's only 25. No,
Oh,
'cause
no,
he
he's a
had just
kid.
he had just
Oh,
started.
okay.
He had just
So he's
started
young.
working
Okay.
for this company. He's like 25, 26, and he said, "F it. This is not my passion. My passion is coaching." He took an offensive assistant job at Duke. He's probably making 20 grand, right? Moved down there, and he's going to get married next summer, and his wife's going to move down there and be a
Right.
teacher.
Jason
Well, they're
just
gonna
gives
be-
out
they're-
his whole financial portfolio.
Well, he's a good friend of mine. I talked to him about it. Think about
You
that.
think he wants that on blast? How much he made?
Well, I didn't even say his name. What are you talking about?
Okay.
So, but think about that sacrifice.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys do that, and now he's going to be on that carousel. If he does it for 20 years, he goes from town to town, each city for a few years.
Right. Let's just say the coach gets fired
Well, yeah. Well, he's got to
or
move
gets
up.
another
He'll be at
job.
Duke for a few years, then he'll go to like Arkansas, and then he'll go to Toledo and take a
Right.
head coach
Right.
gig
That's
there.
the life of a coach.
Yeah. You're a vagabond.
He starts having kids.
Yep.
And then, you got to move your family from town to town, state to state.
Well, think about it. Just even the players. We had Adam LaRoche on, and Adam knows he's probably gone. And Adam said he's lived in 14 different houses in 14 years. In
I
the
was
big
trying to
leagues.
figure that out, though.
He hates
He's
it.
been in D.C. for a while.
Well, he just rents. Probably renting a different house every time.
Why wouldn't you just get one place? Making $15 million.
Well, maybe he did. Who knows?
Yeah, but
Oh,
you don't
he
want to.
said.
You don't want to
Take him at
buy
his
if you know
word.
you're going to be
Yeah,
shipping
but do
out
you
to
think
another
he's
city.
lying?
I believe
No,
him.
I don't think he's lying. I
think
just
these
don't
guys-
quite understand
It's
it.
like Rafael Soriano yesterday. Moving trucks were outside
it
the
up.
driveway. Oh yeah.
And I bet you what they do
Who's
is
renting?
when they sign a bigger contract, buys a bigger house.
I don't know that they're all buying. They probably have a lot of them have houses in where they grew up or their ranches
Right.
or
I'm
whatever.
sure he's got that.
And then wherever they're playing,
Well,
they're
Jason-
only here 6 months out of
I
the
mean,
year.
LaRoche lives
Well,
in
Jason
Kansas. in the
Worth has a
offseason.
14,000 square foot house that he bought in Great Falls.
Do you understand
Okay.
what sort of spread you can get in Kansas for the
Right.
money that LaRoche is making?
Well, he's got a
Well, I know
huge
he
from-
ranch.
probably
I know
owns a
from-
quarter of the state.
I know for a fact Soriano was renting. He was making a ton of dough. Matt Williams, we know, is just renting.
Now, this will never happen, but we were invited to do a show from Adam LaRoche's ranch.
That would be awesome. We were for real?
Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Why? Because the station wouldn't pay for us to go out
Yeah,
there.
but who's gonna? They're gonna pay for us out there
We could probably pull that. Up for trade.
anyway.
You wouldn't want to do it? I would do it in
We
2
can go out
seconds.
and hunt animals with a bow and
in
arrow.
Fort Scott, Kansas. I don't know.
So you don't really want to do it. I would definitely do that.
I mean, that could be. I probably could be convinced that it would be
live
fun.
from the tree stand.
That's right.
I mean, you went there
That's
to
a new
chase
podcast.
tornadoes.
It's true. I did.
I've been to Kansas. It's not that silly.
It's not
I
about
was
being
there
in
5
Kansas.
minutes.
It's about being in LaRoche's house.
I know.
Being
I'm
in
sure.
LaRoche's
I'm
crib.
sure he's got an amazing spread out there.
We would actually go out there and kill tigers. But
Tigers?
Didn't he kill a tiger?
Tigers
are
in
gonna be
Kansas.
tigers
Lion.
Mountain lions.
Yeah.
Give him a dunce cap. Second day in a row.
Scout.
way.
That's a tiger in Kansas.
Whatever he
There's
called
not one
tiger.
tiger in the United States
Yeah.
roaming
They
around.
hate tigers in
Dunce
Kansas.
Cat
Right next door is
Where
Mizzou.
did-
The
where-
The only
Tigers.
tigers you're gonna find are in Clemson.
Where did he kill his tiger?
Probably like in Africa.
I don't know where he killed the mountain lion. I'm not sure where that picture was taken.
Tigers
but
in
I'm pretty
Kansas.
sure it wasn't in Kansas.
100% of what in
Thinks there's
Kansas.
a bunch of Miguel Cabreras out there.
By the way, I was going to tell you, getting back to the Niners, that's a huge win because you know who they play next week? This was a game I was actually going to go to, Valdez. They're playing in Denver. That's
Big
the
game.
That's the primo game of the week on the card next week. So they had to get this win. They go into
Niners
Denver.
Broncos.
Niners Broncos.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a real big one.
I'd stay away from that one. That one doesn't jump out.
I'd stay a million miles away.
Exactly.
I'm all about Jets, Pats.
What we should do
Let
is-
the money
Now,
ride.
you know what?
We should
I'm
look at the
cashed
card.
out. I'm not going for one of these
I wanna
stupid
cash out, too.
$460
I'm
to a $100
tantalized.
Let's
bet.
go through the card. You want to go through the card next break, though, and see if we see one? All we have to find is one guaranteed.
All right, if you see
winner.
one better than Jets, Pats, you let me know.
All right, you know
I
what?
will.
And we'll open up to recommendations. We're going to take a look ahead. The Junkies
We'll let
last
it ride.
week collectively put up $2,000
We're idiots.
to win $500.
It worked.
Give us your biggest winner on the board right now if we're going to load up once again.
I'm a pussy. I'll be honest with you. So my tendency is just to cash out.
Right.
I'll take
And
my
That's
my
kind of mine,
tendency
too.
take my Hunsky.
I've got a little bit of false bravado.
I think it's
going
fair
on.
to
Go see
say-
Gone Girl.
Let me ask you.
I think it's fair to say there's really only two gamblers in this room. EB and I aren't really gamblers.
Yeah,
Cakes, he goes to Maryland Live once a week.
of course I do.
Well, let me ask you this.
Lurch bets every
I'm
night.
flying to
ask you this.
Aruba on
of his
Friday.
life.
Of course, I bet last night. I can't get away from it. And I'll bet tonight, too, because I got baseball. Are you talking about money line or with the sports, with the actual Vegas
it
line?
doesn't matter.
Either one
Either
where
one.
we can be
Whatever's
convinced.
guaranteed. Whatever's guaranteed. Like I thought that was guaranteed last week. I pretty much was convinced it was guaranteed.
By the way, you know NFL money lines aren't out yet.
Yeah, they're not out. Yeah, but they just want to look at the matchup and say, all right, is there any chance that team's going to
then I'll
lose?
tell you.
It could
I'll
be
tell
a
you.
point spread play.
No, I won't do a point spread play. I'll probably.
No, we're
I'll
gonna
probably
lay
do
odds.
I'll probably do a money line.
Yep.
All right, but you're not.
But
If you do the point spread, you're obviously not risking as much.
I understand. I don't care.
He wants to.
You wanna
He
risk
wants
it.
That
You
action.
love the act. You love the sweat.
No.
Admit it. You like the sweat.
You want to lay to 3-1 or 4-1.
You at least like a micro sweat.
It was a fun micro sweat.
Yeah, of course it was.
I'm just not
All
gonna-
right, phone number is 800-636-1067. We put up 2,000, win 500 last week. What should we do this week? We'll take your calls next.